What is up? My name is GARRETT on Twitter, YOOGRTT. Thank you so much for tuning into the INROTATION YouTube channel. Welcome back to a year and recap. Zoink Scoob. We're here. This is my top 10 albums from this year, 2019, and 2019 has been one of the weirdest years for music. I feel like we are getting so much good stuff every single fucking week. We are being inundated with just non-stop project after project, single after single. But when you really boil it down and you really take a look at what's going on, I don't know. I feel like this year could either be remembered or not remembered. It's super flip-flop, and I still don't have an exact answer for this year. But what I can tell you in context, to me, 2019 was probably the year that I listened to the most music, that I took the most critical ear towards music, and that was all exercised through this channel. So thank you so much for just allowing me to grow as much as I did, not only as a reviewer, but just this channel as a whole. I feel like there was a lot of growth, and that's just awesome. And you know, thank you for giving me a platform to, again, give you my dumb opinions. But, you know, to keep in mind, my opinion is just stupid, doesn't matter. But thank you for anyone who does take the time to listen to whatever the fuck that is. Again, you can follow me on Twitter at Yogurt, YOOGRTT. Thank you. We are almost to 500 subscribers. It was a goal of mine. I'm gonna try and push for it. Get some sympathy follows. But if you guys could just go follow or subscribe, that'd be great. And I do appreciate it. For anyone who has shared this channel on 2020 is about to be actually 2020 is looking. Look at 2020. 2020's growing up. Bro, remember when 2020 was just 2019, and now it's 2020, and it's just so big, and we just don't know where to go from here, because it's just fucking 2020 is gonna fuck everybody up, dude. On my end, particularly, I'm coming in hot, so please do not underestimate this channel, and please subscribe so you do not miss it. There's honestly a fat list of albums that I enjoyed. I think the best way to go about it is to give you the best 10 albums that I think hit me right in the fucking face, and I think we should do that. For the most part, all of these have reviews except for a couple, so I will link those reviews in the description below, and as I actually catch up and do reviews for a couple that are straggling, you know, I'll post those as well. So if you want to go check those out, those are in the description. Just gonna say these are not in any particular order. These are just 10 albums that I enjoyed. You know, it's hard for me to number shit. That's why I don't fucking put scores at the end of my reviews. I think that you should just look at this as I'm recommending these 10 albums more than anything else, and it doesn't need to be anything else than that. Start it all off. Let's just get the easy one out of the way. Danny Brown, you know what I'm saying. Danny Brown is my favorite fucking rapper, favorite artist, favorite pretty much anything. Danny Brown is always resonated with me more than most people, more than anybody, I should say, actually. Let's get to a firm fucking statement. But Danny Brown's album this year kind of not only showed a different side to him, but it also showed just how much you can grow with an audience and have them still be right behind you, fucking having your back. And while I don't think it's as flashy as some of the like XXX era, people kind of look back on that, I think, and think that he was this huge artist. But in reality, he's always just had this really fucking die-hard cult fan base. And I was lucky enough to see him, Zelooperz, as well as Ash Nico, live down here in San Diego. And, you know, that was early in December, I want to say. And it was a wonderful fucking time. And I just want to say that the way that this guy still holds and packs out a crowd and still gives the same really fucking quality performance, and this project, while he's touching on stuff that, you know, is a little bit different, and he's coming at it from more of like a traditional standpoint, you're not getting the check Danny Brown, as I've said in the review that I did. I still think that this comes through with some of the most powerful lyricism and the most growth that anyone really did. Like the Glow Up Season 4 Danny Brown is right fucking now, so do not sleep on that project. Going forward, there's an artist called Grandma. Grandma is a fantastic singer. He has a project by the name of Even If We Do Not Get It Together or Don't Get It Together. Fantastic. Singing out of this world. He brings in this kind of like disco flair that definitely reminds you of something that you picture like Homecoming from back in the days to be dancing to. Like you could put him in certain eras and it would just work so goddamn well. And this timestamp, the literal thrust that he does with his music to kind of like throw you back to wherever he's trying to take you. Like, he's not only able to make a piece of music, but he's also able to like transport the listener right where he's trying to be, and like to use mood to influence tone in such a fucking powerful ass way. Time and time again, there's a track called Shallow Waters on that album, and it's one of my favorite fucking songs from this year. So just Grandma, even if we don't get it together, fantastic project. Shut the fuck up, Snapchat. Another project that is in my top 10 is MAVI, M-A-V-I, Let the Sun Talk. You know, MAVI does such a poetic thing with his words, and it's still enthralling every single goddamn time I've listened to this album. I think that he speaks poetry with ease. He has like a silky way with his words, and it's all coming across in the most fucking obtuse, in your face, hard exterior. It's like the hard shell is just to compensate for the soft, poetic, like just fucking magnificent artistry that just bleeds out of it. But the vocals, which is like rustic and just like hard hitting, and at sometimes just so fucking painful that no matter what he's saying to you, you immediately grow empathy. And you know, MAVI, Let the Sun Talk is a fucking masterpiece in my opinion, and it's such a hard album to review. It's such a hard album for me to like actually talk about in a way that does justice to how much I actually am impressed by this album. And it's just so fucking goddamn good. So please go give yourself a listen to this album. I will try and get a review out there, but just the poetry, the imagery, the performance, the debut album for fucking God's sakes. This is this man's first project. It's out of this world how hard he's fucking batting right out the gate in his rookie season. And it's honestly one of the best pieces of storytelling. It takes a firm snapshot of what his lifestyle has been like, gives you a firm feel of like what his trials as well as tribulations are going through and what he's doing to improve them, and also just living in the moment. I'm so excited for this guy's career, and he's actually being on the top of a lot of various album lists, so it's really cool to see him pop up there again for a rookie project. Another person who's just blew my fucking mind this year is Zelooperz, and the project is WILDCARD. He had 2 projects this year. One is WILDCARD, 2 is Dynamite. Take it, I guess, with a grain of salt. I bought a fucking painting from Zelooperz in like 2016 for Christmas, and that was like one of the coolest things. And I saw him live. Actually, I was only able to go to that fucking show because he actually hooked me up with tickets. He's a super fucking nice guy, and he definitely was already going to be on my fucking top of album list, so you don't have to look at that as biased. I'm just telling you right now, this project, short, 10 tracks, I believe, and it just tells this really cool story just about like proving people wrong through the art of practice. And I think that the art of practice that he has shown not only through his discography, whether you go back to Help, you know, and then pushing forward to his new project called Gremlin, I think we're really seeing such a cool documentation of just how somebody can just be so talented but obtuse, to where you think that a guy with a voice and an unorthodox music making style as he does, you would almost think that would discourage like a full career in a way. Like, you would almost assume that there would be a switch up at some point. But the evolution that we have gotten to be right where we are, where Zelooperz is making a project like WILDCARD, when you look at like a very, very conceptually brilliant, but also, again, left field kind of when you listen to it. If you don't know what you're getting into when you go pop in an album like Help, or even Bothic, like you got to strap yourself in, and that's not a bad thing, but it's almost something that you don't see a
allowing to exist over years. And it's funny when you go back, listen to this project, you go back and listen to, again, Help from like 2014, Bothic's in there, he had a collab tape in there as well. This guy's discography only ages better as he makes more music somehow. And again, Dynamite is the most recent release from this year, but right before that in February is where WILDCARD, this project, that's where this came out. And my whole world was really lit up with just a whole new fucking thing. Zelooperz is a cool man, but he's also just a wonderful painter, wonderful artist, wonderful fucking rapper, performer. There's live videos of him performing on this damn channel. I'm just a big fan. So just again, go fuck with that album because it's one of my favorites from this year. This one is one that I always get shit for when I tell people this is probably, I mean, for a long point in this year, this was like my favorite album of the year that I could like recommend most people and think that they'd be like, what the fuck, this is way better than I was expecting. And that is Jaden Smith's IRYS. Jaden Smith is somebody who I have criticized, not, you know, publicly on this channel. I'm a big fan now, but like when you go back to just the growth that he's had, whether he's like crying in a Batman suit or just like having the craziest dreadlocks doing a song with Rich the Kid, like, you know, at no point did I expect it to actually work out for him. At no point did I actually expect it to be like something that, I guess I always assumed he'd have a career somewhere. I mean, the kid fucking is a movie star at like 10, so it's like and his dad's Will Smith, so obviously he's gonna be a good kid. He's gonna just get the successfuls and just reaping them, you know. He's gonna fucking go to bed richer than any of us will ever wake up, you know what I mean? And that was from the day that he was born. But so of course he can find the fucking strings, the things to make, I guess, music and have like a career. But it doesn't have to be good, and it doesn't have to be like so fucking interesting to me. When you go look at IRYS, it's a flip on his previous album Sire. It's that word backwards, and he's continuing his crazy like, I'm smarter than you and I'm higher knowledge than you, like my third eye is so fucking open, dog, my other two are closed, like that type of bullshit. And that's always turned me off, and that's where the hate comes from, because you're like, why are you doing this? But I think he's finally figured out a way to like get away with it. And in this project in particular, he's not really being himself. There's really a character in there, and I forget the character's name. It might just be IRYS. I'm pretty sure it might be Sire. I don't know. I get super confused with the whole storyline because it's weird. But essentially, there's a guy who has to unleash the power of like pink into the world, and like he takes like a drug that's called Vision, and he like infects the rest of the city with it. Like, I don't know, dude. If you look up Jaden Smith IRYS storyline, your mind is just gonna be like, what the fuck is he talking about? But then when you go into the actual album, you're getting this crazy conceptual, like wild as fuck trap album, and you're just getting a bunch of trap bangers over this really obtuse, like, I'ma fucking make it weird real quick. And he does that multiple times where you're like, yeah, this is a club song, and then it's like essentially that's just what it does. It's just like essentially someone flipped the record real quick, and there's not a point where I didn't enjoy everything that was happening, from a Trinidad James feature to that fucking Lido song with like the fucking beat is him getting his hair cut. Like, that's a thing, and that's amazing. And I like, when I heard it, I was like, okay, so we're gonna have to listen to this 6 times over. And I literally ran that beat back and literally just, again, like, got my mind blown. There's triplet flows, there's very similar sounding beats even at times when it does go generic, but he is doing it in such a good way. I feel like the beats are creative as fuck, but they're never really sounding like something we haven't heard. He always makes the tempo, the melody, it's all similar to something that has been done before, but he's mashing it together in 60 different ways. It's like taking a Lego set, building it, and then you're not stopping until you're just reconfiguring it, like over and over and over, until it's just sounding like kind of like a stitched together mess of just, it's either gonna be wonderful or it's not. And this sense of just like wildness and the storyline that he created around it, and just the run of tracks that I get from like track 4 to track like 8 or 9, like is some of the craziest rides that you're gonna have this year, and I'm kind of disappointed that more people aren't putting it on a list of something, because it's a fucking wild ride, and I didn't see it as being generic. I didn't see it as being like an impersonation of something else. I honestly just thought this was a wonderful album. So, you know, check it out if you want. That was number 5. So number 6 that I have listed here is Young Bae's album, Bae 5. Haven't had a review for this. It's not your typical rap album, because it's not a rap album. It's really just like a compilation of like really jazzy beats is how I describe it. It's like crazy sounding modern day disco music, and you know, it's honestly been an album that I've listened to consistently this whole year. It doesn't matter what the fuck I'm doing. I'm driving to work, no problem. I'm fucking cooking dinner, no problem. I'm cleaning my whole house, no problem. I'm probably like at a funeral and for some reason have headphones on. This is probably what I'd play. Don't ask me why. I'm a weirdo. This album is so universal, and everyone that I show is just loving it, and it's refreshing. It really, really is. And I just want to again say that Bae 5 is one of my favorite / best albums of this year. So yeah, do with that what you will. But shout out to Young Bae. I really want to see you live. Or I just like want you to go play at a local roller skating rink so I can just take a date there and fall in love. That'd be great. Next up is Ramirez, Son of Serpentine. This album is one that kind of snuck in there, to be honest, because I wasn't expecting myself to, well, I guess I shouldn't say I wasn't expecting to enjoy it as much, because every time I had heard Ramirez, it had always been a great time. It had always been something that I was, you know, really impressed with. While it sounded like kind of in that Buffet Boy style thing, and I think even my review of that, I call him a Buffet Boy, and someone in the comments was like, that's not right, he's G59, and I know that. He says that enough in his music to where I shouldn't not know that. I just fucked up. Please forgive me, internet. If you could just get me to 500 subscribers, I promise I'll never fuck up again. Son of Serpentine, this is an album that I just consistently kept playing in my car. It's another one of those like Bae 5 things, kind of, where it's like I expected to enjoy it after I heard like the initial Young Bae or the initial Ramirez track. Like I was expecting to enjoy it. But never in a million years did I think that this would work out as such like a match made in heaven thing. And those last like 4 tracks, 5, 6 tracks are some of the funnest fucking things. That's how you close out an album. If you want to look out how you need to close an album in 2020, just look at Ramirez's Son of Serpentine. Mosh Pit Killa with Zelooperz, 100 Bars and Gunnin', POP. There's like so many tracks on there that when I look back on it, I'm like, damn, I really, really love this thing more than I expected to. And yeah, Ramirez, Son of Serpentine, that's the one. Maxo Kream's Brandon Banks is one of those albums that I wasn't looking into at all. Maxo Kream isn't someone that I was even like that big of a fan of going into 2019. It's not that I wasn't a fan necessarily, like I didn't dislike his music, it just wasn't something that I'd listened to a lot of. I heard Roaches, I think, was an album, if I'm not mistaken, and you know, that was cool, and I always liked his flow, I liked his attitude, but I did not expect me to end 2019 saying that Brandon Banks is an amazing project that really stands for a lot and does a great job portraying somebody who is just like coming from Texas, not coming from much, telling the relationship of him and his father together and just how that has played out, and especially like the community and like the sense of just like violence but for good reason, it almost sounds like, for a lot of this thing, where I feel like the justification and the story and the background that he paints is a picture for him to exist in the foreground as like an actor, if you will, or just like if you look at his life as a movie and this is him describing it as like on a script, like he does a great job of like depicting that, like just with words. And it paints such a vivid fucking relationship picture with like his whole family dynamic in some cases. You even get like the sense of brotherhood that he fully just like puts on his back and says that like the platform that I am given right now would be an irresponsible thing for me to use if it wasn't to shine light on everybody who has gotten me to where I am. And that sense of community, but also at the same time that very vigorous fuck you to everybody who is against that very fucking statement, is just some of the hardest shit you're gonna find, but it's also circumferenced by a lot of great tracks. It's Meet Again, which was like the lead single. You had Relays with Travis Scott, Bissonette, Drizzy Draco, Murder Block, Pray to the Dope. Like all these are fantastic. Or even the On the Nose Brothers song with his homie, I think KGC Josh or KCG Josh. I don't know. I fucked with that. I really fucked with this album, and it's one of those things where you gotta look back on it in a few years, and I swear to you, this better be on like your fucking radar, because it's gonna stand so many years of time. It's still gonna tell the same story. The thematic relevance of this is timeless, and the way he masterfully just puts that together, you know, Maxo Kream's the man for that. Another one of my favorite albums of this year is definitely IDK's Is He Real. That album definitely had way more bangers than it ever needed to be. It honestly told a really good side to him. I think it showed him off in the best light that we could possibly find him. And, you know, it's one of those things where when you look back at IDK's track record, a lot of people doubted him. A lot of people didn't want him to be this successful. And I think just now we are getting to the point where everybody's singing his songs at festivals. Everyone's enjoying it. His live performance game is nutty. And I think that this is about to be one of those points where you see someone shoot up, kind of how we saw a Travis Scott get to just this insane high mainstream level. And I don't know. I think it's pretty crazy when you look at just how much fucking growth that album showed. It's kind of nasty when you see just how much a sound can come together. And I feel like IDK's never had a bad project, but this was like a GOAT level project, and the GOAT on the fucking cover really showed that from the start. But yeah, IDK, Is He Real? Fantastic. I honestly have to give this up to DaBaby. Baby on Baby is, I don't know, man. I think when you look at that album, I think you really do have a good textbook label riddled debut album. Like usually it doesn't work out for people who are like buzzing off a single. Like usually the album doesn't circumference like the whole single success in a good box. Like it doesn't really portray like a good project. Like there's usually the single, and then you're like, why are the rest of the songs like diet versions of this? With Baby on Baby, I honestly thought that some of the better songs on it wasn't even Suge. Like you literally had Baby on Baby. You know, there's Babysitter's even fucking fire. Like there's so many good songs on this album, and I think they're all really successful singles too. Just the amount of success that this album brought this guy this year is insane, and I enjoyed it as well. Just to list off some fucking albums that I enjoyed that didn't make the top 10, but they are still wonderful. Young Gravy, Sensational, City Boy, As Good as Dead, which probably would have been a lot higher up if it didn't come out so recently, but I really enjoy that album. Lil Booty Call, Jesus Said Run It Back, 100 Gex, 1000 Gex, Kyle Scrubby Unsigned, Freddie Gibbs and Madlib, Bandana, Rob Banks and Wi-Fi's Funeral, Connected, Baby No Money, I Don't Care, Jack Harlow, Confetti, Injury Reserve, 99 Neighbors, Television, Born to Rap, The Game, Tyler the Creator, Igor, Young Thug, So Much Fun, Post Malone, Hollywood is Bleeding, Slow Tie, Nothing Great About Britain, Rich Brian, The Sailor, Earth Gang, Mirrorland, Dylan Ponders, Nowhere, Juno Flow, Statues, Malibu Ken, JPEG Mafia, All My Heroes Are Cornballs. Recently, Baby Keem, his album is fantastic. And Denzel Curry's Zoo, that was a fun album too, so don't sleep on that. What is your top 10 favorite albums of the year? What did you think of this year in music? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you so much for always tuning into this channel. If you do, I really do appreciate it. You can hit the subscribe button, help me get to 500 subscribers. That'd be pretty damn cool. Thank you so much. And pushing into 2020, I'm about to hit y'all with a couple cool announcements pretty soon, so go keep your eyes peeled and your eyes looking. Don't just peel them, but look for what I'm dropping, the hints. Just dropping, dogs. Thank you so much. Take care of yourselves. That is all, folks.